Okay. Chapter 3 is called The Mysterious Journey. After my friends left, Miss Mack and Mrs. Brisbane stayed and talked. They chatted about Mrs. Brisbane's trip and her son's wedding. They spoke about the nice weather. They discussed what a good class it had been. They talked about just about everything except the great adventure Og and I were going to have. I thought they'd never stop talking, but finally, Principal Morales came in to say goodbye. Then he helped Miss Mack carry our supply of nutri-nibbles and mighty mealworms and Og's unsqueakably yucky crickets out to her car. While they were gone, Mrs. Brisbane stopped and looked at Og, then me. It's been a pleasure having you in room 26, fellows, but I hate goodbyes, she said, so I'll just say good luck. Goodbye and thanks for everything. I clung to the side of my cage as Mr. Morales and Miss Mack returned and carried Og and me out the door, down the hallway of Longfellow School and outside to the car. Slam! The door was shut. Miss Mack tooted her horn and waved goodbye to Principal Morales, and off she drove. I glanced back at Longfellow School. Would I ever see it again? Would I ever see Mrs. Brisbane or Mr. Morales again? I was just about to ask Og when Miss Mack turned up the radio and music began to blare. The windows were open, the music was jazzy, and we were on our way somewhere. At least I knew that life with Miss Mack was never, ever boring. I was a little disappointed over the next 2 weeks because, although it was nice to be with Miss Mack again, our lives weren't really that exciting. Miss Mack liked to cook, and the apartment always smelled of yummy, yummy, yummy things. She had a lot of friends over, and they ate the yummy food and listened to loud music, and sometimes Miss Mack played the bongo drums. To my surprise, Og liked to boing boing along with the bongos. Still, I have to admit, I missed Mrs. Brisbane and my friends in room 26. Nobody called me Humphrey Dumpty the way AJ did. No one spoke as softly and sweetly to me as Saya, and no one giggled like good old Gail. I was beginning to think my life was going to be an endless round of bongos and boing boings when one day Miss Mack got out a large suitcase. Og, I called to my neighbor, whose tank was next to my cage on Miss Mack's coffee table. I think she's leaving again. I hope she's not going back to Brazil. Og splashed madly. Boing, boing. I could tell that he had come to love Miss Mack as much as I did. Calm down, guys, Miss Mack said. This summer you're going wherever I'm going, and I think you'll like the place we're going. A lot. Did you hear that, Og? I was almost crazy with delight. I started my wheel spinning at warp speed. We're going with her. Boing, 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 Og twanged. Even though I had no idea where we were going, I was unsqueakably happy that Og and I were included. Of course, you'll have to drive along with me, Miss Mack continued, and you'll be in a very unfamiliar territory. In fact, it will be just a little bit wild. As soon as she said wild, I stopped spinning, which is never a good idea because I tumbled off the wheel and landed in a soft pile of bedding, a little closer to my poo corner than I like. I thought about what I'd seen in the library just a few weeks earlier, fierce animals with sharp teeth and sharp claws. They were marvelous beasts, but somehow I knew they wouldn't be friendly to small furry creatures like me, or small green furless creatures like Og, especially at dinner time if you get my drift. Miss Mack didn't seem worried, though. She was too busy washing clothes and sewing little labels into them. She packed her clothes and got more food and supplies for Og and me. We won't be near a town, she explained. I'll bet you guys will like getting out in nature as much as I will. Wait, I squeaked. Exactly what do you mean by getting out in nature? I asked. But about the only time I'd been out in nature, in AJ's backyard, I was inside my hamster ball, and even so, something bad, bad, bad almost happened to me. The call of the wild must be answered, Miss Mack laughed. Then she closed her suitcase and zipped it up. We leave first thing in the morning. I had to spin on my wheel for a long time that night trying to get the thought of lions and tigers out of my head, and I tried to tell myself that Miss Mack was a wonderful human who loved me. I could trust her, couldn't I? When Miss Mack said first thing, she meant it. The sun was barely up when Og and I were in the car, cage and tank nestled among boxes and bags and pillows and bongo drums. Bump, bump, bump went the little car as it chugged down the road. Thump, thump, thump went my heart and tummy with every bump we hit. We drove and drove and drove some more. I couldn't see out the window, so I didn't know if there were any gorillas or lions around. I believe lions can make a lot of noise, but even if they were roaring right next to the car, I wouldn't have heard them because Miss Mack had loud music playing. After several hours, the tummy thumping bump, bump, bumps became slower. Bumpity, bump, bumps. I knew that we had turned off the main road. Miss Mac turned off her music. Ah, there's the sign, she said. We're almost there. I crossed my paws and hoped that was good news. When you're a small creature who can't see out of the car windows, you learn to listen for clues. Here's what I heard as the car slowed down. A crunching sound beneath the wheels, which meant we weren't on paved road anymore. More and more bumps, birds chirping, buzzy sounds. Here's what I didn't hear. Other cars whizzing by, city noises, people. Then I heard Miss Mac say, "Oh, wow." The car stopped. She opened the door and told Og and me that she'd be right back. The windows were open and a nice breeze drifted in. I didn't smell chalk and erasers and markers and paper bag lunches like I had in room 26. I smelled grass and trees and things I couldn't even name. "Can you see anything, Og?" I asked my friend. No answer. Maybe the car ride had upset his tummy. He looked a little greener than usual. I tried to concentrate on the sounds of the birds singing and the buzzy things. Then I heard other noises too. Skitter, 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 scritch, scritch, scritch. That sounded like small creatures scurrying about. I wondered if there were other hamsters around. Then I heard footsteps. Not Miss Mac's footsteps, though. They were clompity, clompity, clop footsteps. Miss Mac would never cloppity clop. Suddenly a man's big red face with bright red hair under a red and white baseball cap popped right in through the open door. "Well, who do we have here?" Goodness, his voice was almost as loud as Lower Your Voice, AJ's. "I'm Humphrey," I squeaked back. "Who are you?" "Yahoo!" Miss Mac was calling, and "Yoo-hoo!" Miss Mac was calling in the distance. The man's face disappeared. "Hello," his voice boomed out again. "Hi, Mr. Holloway," I heard Miss Mac say. "I was just up at the office looking for you. I'm Morgan McNamara." Oops, I'd almost forgotten that Miss Mac had a longer name. "I remember from your interview. Call me Hap," the man replied. "And welcome to Happy Hollow." "Did you hear that, Og? We're in a place called Happy Hollow," I squeaked to my friend. "That's a nice name. It must be a nice place." "Boing," Og replied. Then I heard Hap say, "I see you brought your friends along." "Yes, the hamster and the frog, as we discussed," Miss Mac answered. "That's us," I told Og. "Great. Why don't you get unpacked and then come on up and we'll get organized. You'll be in Robin's nest tonight, just up the hill on the right. It's all clean and aired out." Miss Mac hopped back in the car and drove up the hill. I was unspeakably excited. Were we really sleeping in a bird's nest? Would it be up in a tree? Would the robins actually be there? And would a small furry hamster be welcome? Room 26 seemed far, far, far away. Note to self, no matter what you think humans have planned, they'll always surprise you, like it or not. And chapter 4 is called Camp Happy Hollow.